Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Hi. It's so good to see you all here today as it warms up a little bit, and we're going to smell those cinnamon rolls cooking downstairs. It'll be a good and yeasty service today. We welcome you to our Sunday Assembly for February 12th, 2023, whether it's one of your first times here or you've been with us lots of times before. Whether you're here in the room in our beautiful building on Mount Curve or you're joining us online, we are delighted that you are here as a part of our gathered community. Folks online, we know you like to check in with each other and say hello in the chat, comment on what you're hearing up here and on the good music that you'll hear today. We are delighted to welcome Charmaine Douglas back again. It's a real treat to have you. And folks in the building, we hope you'll join us downstairs after assembly for our mini meal. Today is Cinnamon Roll Sunday. That always happens on Super Bowl Sunday, doesn't it? Okay, we think that's quite clever that we do that. I think cinnamon rolls are $7 a piece or two for $7. 2 for 7. Such a deal. It's such a deal. And they're delicious. We also have cheesy spinach squares, cheese and summer sausage, and sloppy no sliders. They're vegan, sloppy no. So while you're downstairs, we hope that you'll stop by the card basket to send a card to folks that we may mention in joys and sorrows, or people who are unable to attend today. There are 3 things happening at noon today, so there's a little something for everybody. Here in the Assembly Hall, FUS board member Erica Bovey will be discussing deconstructing Christianity. It's a close look at how faith holds together and then unwrapping those strands. Many of us were born into a Christian faith, and Erica has a story about how she followed the threads and where they led her. Also at noon, for folks who are new and or would like to learn more about how we do things at FUS, we have our monthly Welcome to FUS session at noon, and today that's going to be in the library, which is all the way down at the end of the hall. And then also at noon, I thought I had one more thing. Maybe I don't. Tutoring, that's it. Yes, thank you. Our Love to Read volunteers are having a meeting in the Chalice Room. Is that right? Okay, thank you. And I just want to say, Audrey Kingstrom, well done this week reading the chaplain's intro at the House of Representatives at the Minnesota State Capitol. Well done. That's on our social media feeds if you want to hear how a humanist gets it done. Really fine. I want to mention that next Sunday is a special Sunday. I'll be talking in the assembly about the 1-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. And at noon, we will have a representative of the organization ALIGHT, formerly the American Refugee Committee, to speak to us here in the Assembly Hall. And some members of FUS are discerning if we have the capacity to sponsor a Ukrainian refugee family. So we're not deciding yet that we have to do it, but we're going to ask the questions and be in this discernment. That's next Sunday, so we hope you'll join us for that. Our theme this month is On the Path of Love. These words come from Mary Oliver. Don't hesitate. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you will notice it in the instant that love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. Come, let us gather in community.
Well, as you can see, we have the great fortune of having Charmaine Douglas return to us here. Hey, thank you. As a guest musician to perform today. I worked with Charmaine as her music teacher at SBCPA several years ago, and right the first time I ever heard Charmaine sing or play, I was just like very amazed right away. And I think you as well will appreciate this talent. It's really good to see you here. Charmaine is now doing a bunch of cool music in the city. She's got this group called The Culture that I think is going to make an appearance here in April 2nd. So come back for that and check her out in the city. And also working with McPhail, doing a lot of music teaching through McPhail. So welcome back, Charmaine.
Just call me.
Each week, we light our chalice, remembering one of the Unitarian Universalist principles or one of the first Unitarian Society aspirations. Today, we light for the second UU principle. We covenant to affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations.
I'm here to introduce a video you'll see momentarily from the nominating committee. Today we'll ask you to consider being a candidate for the Board of Trustees, and in a couple of weeks the Foundation Board, a little bit after that the nominating committee. So please consider. Hi, I'm Bruce Nelson with the FUS Nominating Committee, and we're looking for members who are interested in serving on the Board of Trustees. Today we have Trustee Michael Pileggi to tell us a bit about serving in that capacity. So Michael, what does the Board of Trustees do?
The board looks at current issues related to the society, COVID for example, at the same time looking at the future, the direction the society is heading, and being fiscally responsible always.
And what's been your time commitment as a trustee?
Sure, we meet once a month, about 2 hours, and there's about another 30 to 45 minutes prep time. They also expect us to be on a committee, same amount of time commitment.
And what have you enjoyed about being as a trustee?
Sure, I enjoy getting to know all the members that are on the board, the two ministers that attend the meetings, and have a say in the direction the society's heading.
Well, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, FUS members, if you're interested, visit us at our table downstairs during the mini meal today, or go to the FUS website, click on Community, then the Leadership Interest Form. We hope to hear from you.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for all who serve on our various governing committees. We couldn't do what we do without folks stepping up for that. We're going to sing number 170 in the Gray Songbook, if you happen to have picked up a songbook at the back, but if you don't, we got you covered. The lyrics will show up here. We'll invite you to stand as you are able. We are a gentle, angry people. I'll just say that we are, later there's a lyric that we've changed a little bit. When this was written, Holly Neer wrote this in around 1979, and she wrote in the lyric, "We are gay and straight together." But later she has expanded her idea of the inclusivity of all gender and sexuality preferences. And so we're singing, "We are queer and straight together" when it comes to that point. So whatever you sing is good, but if you see it up here and it looks a little different, that's why. All right, thanks. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. Land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing together. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. I think we are queer and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are queer and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Gentle, loving. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Please remain standing for our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linnea Asp, and I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. Earlier this month, letters were sent out inviting members to make a financial commitment for the 2023-24 fiscal year, and that will start on July 1st. A pledge form was printed on the back of the letter. Our theme is New Together and references our congregation coming together both in person and virtually. There's so much to celebrate as we gather to socialize and work to create positive outcomes in our home and the greater community. With each of us committing time and treasure to this effort, we will ensure excellence in programming, community outreach, maintain our building, and much, much more. Our goal is to raise $475,000 in congregational support. Please join this effort, get your pledge in soon, and consider an increase if you can. Many members and friends have already committed, so we are off to a great start. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Michael Pelleggio at the Board of Trustees, on the Board of Trustees. I've been a member of the board for about 6 months, and basically, we talk about a lot of things, but basically it revolves around 3 different issues. First, what's going on in this society? How's it going? Do we need more volunteers? And the answer to that is yes. If you are a retired teacher and looking for something to do, the RE program could certainly use more teachers for helping Sunday morning. If you like to cook, the kitchen is always looking for people to help cook. And basically, there's a committee for any interest that you have. So if you are looking for something to do, go to the front office and ask what there is available, and they will have an opening for you. Second is, where do we go from here? What do we do 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And last, how do we pay for all that? And if you are retired, which I am with my wife, we just increased our pledge. If you are giving right now, you're not retired, you're giving. If you can give a little bit more, that would be great. If you do want to give more, you can write a check, you can pay downstairs with a credit card, or you can go online. And last but not least, if you are currently giving and you can't give anymore, or you're volunteering and you can't do any more as a member of the board, we thank you. Thank you for your time.
First Unitarian Society is a congregational humanist community. That means that we are here for each other. On Sundays, we take a few moments to reflect on the joys, the sorrows, and the milestones of the human experience. And in doing this, we remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness. We remind ourselves that no one among us is alone, either in celebrating life's joys or in facing life's tragedies and burdens. We are here for each other. Today, this morning, I want to say a word of thought, remembrance, holding, hurt, grief for the people in Turkey and Syria. The death toll now stands at some 28,000 people. It's unimaginable. And in a part of the world where already structures and support systems were not what we understand that they should be. It's very, very cold. It's incredibly dire. It's going to get worse. It's almost too much to hold. And this is the moment where we allow ourselves to feel unimaginable grief. We are able to hold that as a community together. We want to help. There are any number of organizations that are doing good work. Doctors Without Borders is a very good one. Oxfam is a good one. The Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, UUSC.org, can also take your online donation if you wish to reach out that way. When it feels overwhelming, it's okay to feel it. It's okay to feel it. You're held here, and when you go away from here, you are still held here. We also hold in our thoughts today FUS member David Johnson, who is now in a transitional care facility as he navigates some medical issues. I will see David this afternoon, so if you'd like to write a card for him at the card table downstairs, I'll hand deliver that this afternoon. We'll now take a moment of silence to reflect on our world and those who work to comfort and heal the suffering and those who work for justice. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Thank you, Charmaine. Woo! Thank you, Bill Withers. That's good. Well, this is our time for all ages, and it makes me very happy to see you all ages sitting here on the front row. It is one of my very favorite times of year. You know, winter drags on a long time. Oh, we get tired of it, but there's something that's happening right now that only happens at this time of year. It's just started. The sap has started to run in the maple trees. So here's how this happens. When it's above freezing during the daytime, it has to be between about 35 and 42 degrees. Let's see, right now I show it's 31 degrees, but it's climbing. When it's above freezing during the daytime and it's below freezing at night, that's when the sap starts to run in the maple trees. Now, the maple sap is sweet. It's a little sweet. It's not super sweet. You would think that when they tap a tree, there are all kinds of ways to do it, but in the olden days, they took a spile, a little tube that tapped right in to the tree, right? And they hung a bucket right under that. And drip, 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 plunk, 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 the sap would plunk out into the bucket. And it was pretty tasty, but you wouldn't want to put that on your syrup. It's kind of watery, right? It wasn't that sweet. And so the old folks would take the people from long ago, not the old folks, the people from long ago, the indigenous people all over the country, and farmers all over the country would take the buckets of sap, big, heavy buckets, and they would put it over a fire and boil it down. And people still do this today. Do we have any maple sugar makers here? Excellent. Yes, people who make sugar. And do you know how many gallons of syrup it takes to make 1 gallon? How many gallons of sap?
30 to 1 to 40 to 1.
40 to 1.
Yeah, I got about 35.
About 35. About 40 gallons of sap. And you boil it down, and it makes syrup. And then you can have it on your pancakes, and it's pretty tasty, right? Here's how the indigenous people did it. To save on firewood, they had these long troughs, these long vessels, and they poured the sap out in there. And guess what? At night it froze, and you know what was the ice on top? That was the pure water. So they would take out the ice, throw it away on the ground, and the next night more water would come out and more water would come out, and then you would have just the maple syrup. And so in that way, in the hungry time of year, as winter went on and on and on, the people had some sugar to give them energy till spring was coming. And so, if you have some maple syrup on your pancakes tomorrow, I'd ask for pancakes tomorrow. You can remember the story that maple sugar is being made right now and through the spring. It'll keep going through the spring. And it's nice to see when we go outside to remember that the earth feeds us and we feed the earth. And with that, I think we'll sing our young ones to your classes. All right, here we go. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And change will come to you.
As I talked about last week, the English word love is often inadequate to describe both the cornucopia of emotions that we feel around what we call love, but also inadequate to the moral call of what has been considered a higher ethics that insists that we go that extra mile and we love our neighbors, even the surly ones. And loving our neighbors as ourselves and loving our enemies is not about falling into love, is it? It's about rope climbing for love, mountain climbing for love, some kind of hard work. Acknowledging the hard work of loving your neighbor and forgiving your enemy led to, as I discussed last week, the nonviolent tactics that produced massive change during the Civil Rights era. Now, as you know, this is Black History Month. The staff of the American Humanist Association announced that they invite humanists to celebrate Black Futures Month. Black Futures Month, which I like. Yes, we need to know our history. We need to know where we're coming from, yet we can grow kind of weary and hopeless looking at all the injustices and struggles of the past. What about the future? What about working for a future of love and justice? Martin Luther King Jr. knew history very well. He had studied the sermons of one of the most fierce orators of the abolition of slavery movement just previous to the Civil War, Reverend Theodore Parker, who said this: "Look at the facts of the world. You see a continual and progressive triumph of the right, meaning the right thing. I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. But from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice. Things refuse to be mismanaged long. Jefferson trembled when he thought of slavery and remembered that God is just. Ere long, all America will tremble." Now, in the event, Parker died of tuberculosis in 1860, a year before the war began, so he did not live to see the abolition of slavery, which he had fought so hard for. Now, Theodore Parker was a Unitarian minister and a transcendentalist, a disciple of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. As Parker's health declined, Emerson would sometimes stand in for him on Sunday mornings. And Emerson was not a fiery orator. He was a well-known one, but not all that exciting. So he couldn't match Parker's preaching style. But looking at Emerson's writings from that time is very instructive because he's restating many of the ideas that Parker had gleaned from reading Emerson. So Emerson is feeding back on Emerson. Now, one Sunday morning, Emerson said this: "The moral cause of the world lies behind all else in the mind. The moral cause of the world lies behind all else in the mind." Now, many of you know that President Barack Obama also loved to talk about the moral arc of the universe. And when he used the phrase, he would include the idea that we ourselves need to be the ones who are bending it. And most of us today don't understand that concept behind what Parker was saying, and nor do most Americans understand why Martin Luther King Jr. found that concept of a moral universe so important. But as we think about Black history and Black futures, it's important that we understand that, quote, "the moral cause of the world lies behind all else in the mind." But before we get there, we have to back up a little bit and look at some Black history to see why Emerson, Parker, and MLK saw the Black future in this very old concept of a moral universe. Now, Black humanism goes all the way back to kidnapped Africans who were shipped to this hemisphere. I highly recommend Christopher Cameron's marvelous book, Black Freethinkers, A History of African American Secularism. From the beginning, kidnapped Africans, then enslaved Africans, then African Americans have asked a question. If there is a God, how could that God allow the horrors of slavery and white supremacy? It's a good question. This question and challenge goes all the way back in the U.S. History, and it's summarized by a contemporary meme that I ran across on Twitter that says this: our ancestors died believing that a white Jesus would save them from their white slave masters. They also lived by Ephesians 6:5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of heart as unto Christ. Yes, brainwashing is real. So, that pretty well summarizes what's going on here. The central humanist theologian of the 20th century was the Reverend Dr. William R. Jones, a UU humanist, a minister, and professor. And Dr. Jones long ago published a book titled, Is God a White Racist? A Preamble to Black Theology. Now, as you might suspect, Dr. Jones answered with a heck yes. God is indeed a white racist. How come? Well, because of the construct, the very construct of white supremacy. It's a construct used to explain away black oppression, and the sooner we get away from the concept of God, the better. That pretty well summarizes a fairly difficult book to read. Someone who has taken Jones's subtitle, A Preamble to Black Theology, is Dr. Anthony Penn, who's, many of you know, a friend of this congregation. Early in his career as a theologian, Tony was fired from his position at Macalester College when he came out as an atheist. The first place he was asked to speak publicly after that, and as the brouhaha went on, was to come here. In such books as Why, Lord? Suffering and Evil in Black Theology, Dr. Penn deconstructs, see how fancy I did that, Erica? See, deconstructing Christianity at noon today. Don't miss it unless you have to, right? He goes about deconstructing European Christianity and culturally African American theology, pointing out a fundamental idea of humanism, and that is human beings can fix human problems. Well, Dr. Jones goes and turns that right back around. Yes, God is a white racist. Dr. Penn argues that the old teaching that black suffering is redemptive, that's just bogus, right? Black suffering is redemptive. That's what the white Southerners were talking about, and it has gone into a lot of black theology along the way. Dr. Penn says, absolutely no way is that true. Forget about it. It's just human beings making really bad human choices for the wrong reason. And that's the liberal, free-thinking, and humanist stream that goes into the liberation theology that we tend to talk about today. But I do want to look at the other side of the coin for just a few moments, the socially conservative religious attempts to aid in black futures. Now, I've talked a lot recently about William Seymour, Brother William J. Seymour, who founded the Pentecostal movement in the early 20th century. He was using Galatians 3:28, Christian scripture that taught that even for the message to the least educated, people like my parents who really couldn't even read. But he had this to say, this is Paul speaking, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ. That's the center of Pentecostalism. It's fundamentalist, yes, and it appeals mostly to poorer and disadvantaged people, yes. But Pentecostals tended to be disengaged from politics because, hey, they were focused on surviving this week, so and living maybe for the next world. Also, though the roots of Pentecostalism are deep, like humanism, actually it is an early 20th century movement. It's got a lot of roots, but it really comes along to meet the modern problems of the early 20th century. The movement for racial justice began in the denomination usually known as Black Baptist. That's not actually what it is. It's actually the National Baptist Convention. And that's the one, if you're a white Baptist, the American Baptists are a segregated but very similar organization. African American Baptist organizations are the through line of black community and black resistance, from the forced Christianization of kidnapped Africans to the resilience that we see in black communities today. National Baptists have long believed in what was, in times past, known as uplift of the race, and they've long focused on education in order to do that. Now, as I've mentioned a few weeks ago, our very own Reverend Dr. J. Exodus Hooper has been invited to join the Martin Luther King Jr. College of Ministers and Laity, and that induction occurs during a Benjamin Elijah Mays forum. Well, who was Reverend Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays? Yes, there is Jay with the plaque that we're going to be seeing inducted in there. Benjamin Mays is a key figure in tying together all of the different rivulets that are coming together for a black future. The induction ceremony Jay will be attending at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, is named in honor of Dr. Hayes, who Martin Luther King called his spiritual mentor. Mays met Martin Luther King Jr. at Morehouse College. Mays was the president at that time, and King was a young student. The old main building, called Graves Hall, and the old quad at Morehouse hold history that's not at first apparent. It's not a steeple when you look at the top of that building. It's a watchtower. And the watchtower was 24/7 to watch for the KKK attacking and ring a bell in order for the students to get indoors. The statue of Mays is out in front of that building, and it's where he stood to preach Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral oration. Now, before that, in this old quad of the school, was part of the Battle of Atlanta. Gone with the Wind, burning of Atlanta, and all of that. Well, part of the battle happened on the grounds of that school before the school was there. And what is now the central quad is a mass grave of over 500 killed Confederates out there in front of the building. Now, incoming students are told, don't step on the grass or you won't graduate. But then the graduation is held on the grass so that the graduating students can trample over the 500 dead Confederates there, symbolically overcoming white supremacy. Now, Benjamin Mays was the child of parents born into slavery, and neither of his parents had any education at all. In the South, when Mays was young, Black Baptist churches and black ministers had to be sponsored by white churches and white ministers, meaning overseen, right? They're watching to see what kind of politics is going on in the church. To counter the oppressive censorship, black churches learned to hide their message in plain sight. We all know about those great old gospel lyrics, but Big River or Going over Jordan is the Ohio River, because that's where freedom was. Follow the Drinking Gourd is about watching the Big Dipper up there, because that's how you get to the north. And of course, Walk in the Water Children, which is about how not to be tracked and how to escape the hunting dogs. Naturally enough, the Exodus story, J. Exodus Hooper, right? The Exodus story in Hebrew scripture would become the central set of metaphors encoding the freedom message. But even the smallest phrase from scripture can fit in suddenly. So you get something like, okay, this is Luke 9:62, and Jesus said unto him, no man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Now, what
What's that got to do with freedom, right? Well, you probably know the good old hymn from the civil rights anthem days. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, is where that went to. Freedom's name is mighty sweet, and soon we're going to meet. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. You see how that fits together. It's going to be dodgeable. Oh, I wasn't talking about that, right? Paul and Silas in prison, a very famous story from Acts. Becomes Paul and Silas thought they was lost. Dungeon shook and the chains come off, right? Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. So that complex use of metaphor and imagery is still important in black cultural preaching today. Nowadays, you might hear, check your feet. Which way are they going? Heard that a couple of weeks ago. Are you marching toward freedom or are you marching back toward Pharaoh? Yeah. Check your feet. It began to occur to ministers of Mays's generation, the generation of Martin Luther King Sr., Daddy King, that Christianity had indeed been used to oppress Africans, just as the meme says, but look at this, the black tradition has never bought that message, So what do we have that we can share in the wider communities? The problem then was that many white people were listening to bad theology in the South. That must be what was going on. So we will begin to share our theology out into the white community so people can hear that. The black tradition is about liberation. So let's begin talking about that. All right. And as I mentioned last week, the African American Baptists in the early 20th century came to see calls of turning the other cheek and blessing those that curse you. That's going to become nonviolence, because we will weaponize love, because they won't know how to deal with people who are loving. In other words, Jesus is saying, bless those who curse you, because it will really mess with their minds, right? It will really mess with their minds. Now, African American free thinking joined with Unitarian and Universalist thinking and ethical culture as these streams begin to come together during the 20th century. African American secular thinking joined the American Humanist Association. Pentecostalism, that names racism and genderism as demons to be cast out, well, that's the fastest growing religion in the world today. And Benjamin Mays traveled with a sharecropper shack from a sharecropper shack in Georgia to in the Jim Crow South with essentially no power whatsoever, to eventually ride around with the president on Air Force One. The black church tradition turned love your neighbor and turn the other cheek into a nonviolent civil disobedience that has continued to accomplish civil liberties and human flourishing. Which brings me back to us. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be speaking at the New York Society for Ethical Culture, and I will be speaking at a ceremony to induct Jay as one of their leaders there. He's going to stay here. He's just jetting around a lot, okay? But he's in several different places because he's brilliant. At that ceremony in New York, I will be saying that we are witnessing a wedding of the streams that have made several forms of black liberation theology in this country. Jay was raised, as I was, Pentecostal. Jay became a humanist and became a leader of the ethical culture movement. Then Jay became clergy here, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism in the Unitarian tradition. And now Jay works closely with the American Humanist Association, which is the secular part of our movement. And now Jay joins a circle of ministers and scholars who represent black culture and the black cultural through line of Baptist preaching. How about that? All of those are part of Jay's thinking. All right? Now, I've studied a lot of humanist history. This is absolutely historic. Jay is the first ever to do all of that. Black history, but that's a good black future. Black futures. And we are helping to do that right here at First Unitarian Society. Free thinking, transcendentalism, humanism have been in the struggle for liberation from the beginning, and we are still doing the work of love. So let's celebrate this February, and of all months, Black History Month, but more Black Futures Month, and then let's make all them months that.
Well, that's worth singing about. Our song is number 1008 in the Teal Songbook, if you have that, but the lyrics will also show up on the screen. When our heart is in a holy place. And please stand as you're willing and able.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power in each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please be seated. Join me in these words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
To the sound of hitting on my window, let it fall. While all the flowers bloom in yellow and pink, soak my skin, hydrate my body, clear away who I was. This was all I need to grow. 'Cause when it rains, it falls on me. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it falls Heal my pieces, need that. Hugs and kisses, I love that. Just another year around the sun, I hope to have another one. Cloudy days are always better with the chance to run outside and take my clothes off and then I dance. The water covers every inch of me, and this is where I wanna be. Hey, when it rains, it falls on me. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it falls on me. When it rains, it pours. Can I hear more people clapping? Thank you. So like I wrote this next part for like everybody to be able to sing, okay? So I'll sing it for you. I say, when it rains, falls on me. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, falls on me. When it rains, good job. It pours. Maybe a little louder. When it rains, falls on me. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, oh, when it falls on me. Oh, it pours. When it rains, falls on me. When it rains, it pours.
Go out into the world. Be fearless. Ask questions. Hold on to what is good. Strengthen the weak. Comfort the fearful. Serve the suffering. Do what makes you come alive. Because, as the great Howard Thurman said, the world needs more people who have come alive. So may it be.